Lynch and others identified 4 critical questions that might illuminate the conduciveness or otherwise of certain teaching contexts to the pursuit of scholarly activities around teaching practices. Are individuals motivated to pursue scholarly activities in relation to their own teaching work? Do individuals have the capabilities required to pursue scholarly activities in relation to their work? Does the organisation's symbolic representation of teaching support the pursuit of scholarly activities around teaching work? Does the organisation's allocation of resources support the pursuit of scholarly activities around teaching work? In the context of practical legal training, the question regarding symbolic representation of teaching might also be directed to organisations instrumental in policy making and regulation of the field of PLT. As part of my own research in relation to PLT's teachers' engagement with the scholarship of teaching in PLT, I'm interested to know, to what extent do practitioner teachers capture or are caught by a scholarship of teaching in practical legal training? If PLT teachers' own education and professional experience of scholarship is shaped by legal positivism and technocentrism, how might that affect their perceptions of a less positivist social scholarship of teaching? Are PLT teachers affected by counterintuitive impulses of performativity and passion, of being seen to be good and doing good? Is this particularly so if the delivery of PLT is commercialised and scholarly activities are framed by employers' business and performance expectations? What opportunities, if any, do teacher practitioners have to engage with research and scholarship? What goods, teacher self-actualisation and improvements in teaching quality, for example, might result from the pursuit of a scholarship of teaching? In relation to PLT, it is worthwhile to consider the epistemology of the school that is delivering the training, because that organisational epistemology goes to what the school counts as knowledge and how the school symbolically represents its model of teaching. Does the school see itself simply as a finishing school for graduates to enter the profession, or does the school's vision allow for research and scholarship to contribute to knowledge? As Schoen records, historically this question has not been confined to the legal profession, because the normative professional curriculum has come to involve the teaching of the basic subject followed by the applied subject and a practicum in which to apply classroom knowledge to professional practice. This evolved out of a position that held professional practice knowledge was not fundamental intellectual knowledge, and that practitioners are not scholars, so it was appropriate to separate academia as a place of higher learning from preparation for professional practice. This quarantining of higher education as a site of technical rationality effectively separates research and scholarship from practice. As Schoen puts it, research finds little place to stand in the area of practice. And there is the dilemma of rigour or relevance. Many interesting technical or intellectual problems can be managed through rigorous research-based theory and techniques. However, these solutions are often not relevant to the messier problems that arise in practice. This problem arises both in practical legal training and the teaching of practical legal training. It can be challenging to transform professional know-how into something teachable, a kind of knowing in action which relies on non-logical practices that are a kind of tacit knowing. When professionals strive to transfer this kind of knowledge through teaching, it's not unusual for misunderstandings to arise, partly because professionals teaching this kind of knowledge can misstate what they know how to do. Schoen argues that if we want to teach about our doing, then we need to observe ourselves in the doing, reflect on what we observe, describe it, and reflect on our description. This process of reflection in action and reflection on action provides opportunities for research and scholarship in PLT by applying the approach to actions undertaken as part of professional legal practice and actions as part of teaching professional legal practice. By playing back the action and thinking about the strategies and knowing in action as theories that inform the performance of the action, it is possible to subject those theories to analysis and then develop repertoires of professional practices for further performance and testing. Schoen observes there is a problem with having this type of action research accepted as valid where technical rationality is the primary epistemology underlying institutional arrangements and norms. For example, Healy has stated that, in common with other quantitative rational sciences, we need theories of measurement of human variables which satisfy the requirements for scientific measurement. On the other hand, we need substantive theories about the human condition that allow us to examine how the responses the candidates make are connected with the human attribute under investigation. Healy argues that the improvement of teaching and learning and the development of the status of teaching depends on the development of scholarship of teaching, and that means exposing teaching to the scrutiny of theoretical perspectives, methods, evidence, and results. At least two controversies emerge here. Firstly, there are the usual dichotomies of objectivism versus subjectivism and qualitative versus quantitative methods, and arguments about measurement, validity, positivism, and empiricism, which would emerge in research and scholarship of teaching in PLT, as they do anywhere. Those who wish to pursue a more formal scholarship of teaching must acquaint themselves with those issues and address them when planning their scholarship. The use of randomised controlled trials and systematic reviews in connection with evidence-based approaches to education research is a direction worth exploring. However, that methodology requires significant resources and is not uncontroversial. Secondly, the issue of measurement also relates to the notion of performativity. As Blackmore has observed, policies around standards and best practice now link the social practices of leadership and teaching to indicators of learning outcomes in tighter circles of performativity, and that the ways in teachers' effectiveness is measured within a performative culture are not reflected in their own evaluations of their experiences as practitioners. If teacher scholarship of teaching is linked to reviews of their performance, it may be that teachers will focus their scholarship only on those areas deemed to prove compliance at the expense of more innovative or problematic issues needing research. For example, in one study by Lynch and others, participants that pursued a scholarship of teaching were perceived by colleagues as having intrinsic or altruistic motives and resistant to organisational agendas, whereas others chose to concentrate on other more highly rewarded areas of scholarship. In my opinion, Schoen's version of action research provides an individual researcher with a method to pursue a scholarship of teaching in practical legal training. This, together with emergent methodologies such as narrative inquiry and autoethnography, means that an individual need not be shut out from a scholarship of teaching in PLT. It is exciting how social media, blogging and microblogging applications are being harnessed by academics and practitioners to conduct research, express and exchange ideas, and to make cross-disciplinary and cross-jurisdictional connections with others. These exchanges are multiplex in the way that they can blend scholarly, professional and personal layers of interactions between individuals. More recently, such analytical software as QSR and Vivo 10 have been developed to include social media artifacts such as Twitter streams as sources for research. This provides an excellent opportunity to research legal practitioner and teacher practitioner attitudes and opinions about aspects of legal practice and teaching practice in practical legal training. I say that there is scope to expand an Australian scholarship of teaching in practical legal training, and that there are methodologies well adapted for the pursuit of scholarship of teaching in PLT, involving sources such as social media and emergent methodologies. Well, thank you for watching. Please let me know what you think about the ideas expressed in this presentation in the comments.